sun came rising softly over Tennessee this morn, casting gold across the pasture and the rows of weathered corn. I sat out on the porch swing with a Bible in my hand, listening to the mockingbirds and trying to understand how a boy who used to wander so far from mercy's call could end up here with tears of thanks, surrendering it all. There were years I ran from Jesus, chasing roads that led nowhere, trying to hide my broken heart beneath a weight of fear. I wore my pride like armor, but it couldn't shield the pain. Every empty promise left me colder than the rain. Then one night I heard the thunder rolling through my soul, and I knew the Lord was calling me to finally let Him hold all the pieces of this life I'd nearly thrown away, and I've never been the same since that old altar day. The church sat on a hillside where the gravel road would bend, white paint peeling from the side and like old scars that time won't mend. But when I stepped inside that doorway, something holy filled the air, like the prayers of saints before me still were hanging everywhere. There were wooden pews and hymnals worn by callous farmer hands, and stained glass windows catching light like heaven's own commands. I heard the preacher speaking on the mercy of the cross, how Jesus paid the debt for every soul that had been lost. And when the invitation came, I felt my knees grow weak as the burden of my sin and shame finally made me speak. I walked down that narrow aisle with tears I couldn't hide, and I laid my life at Calvary where my old self surely died. On my knees in a country church, that's where grace first found me. With the dust on my boots and tears on my face, the Lord reached down around me. On my knees in a country church at an altar made of wood, I traded all my guilt and chains for mercy bought in blood. Now every road I walk begins with the Savior's holy touch. I found my life, I found my hope on my knees in a country church. My daddy was a farmer with a Bible by his bed, and every dawn before the fields he bowed his weathered head. He'd pray for rain in dry seasons, pray for strength when crops were low, pray the Lord would guard His children down every road we'd go. I used to think that kind of faith was for the weak and worn, for men too scared to stand alone and face the coming storm. But years have a way of humbling all the pride a man can wear, and life will bring you to your knees when burdens get too hard to bear. When Mama got that sickness and the doctor shook his head, I watched my father kneel and cry beside their marriage bed. He didn't curse the heavens, he didn't run away, held her hand and trusted God through every darkened day. And though the Lord called Mama home before the spring returned, I saw peace in Daddy's eyes I never thought I'd learn. He said, "Son, this world will break you if your hope is built on sand, but Jesus holds us steady with His nail-scarred loving hand." Those words stayed buried deep in me through every reckless mile, through every barroom midnight and every false denial. Then when my own heart shattered and my plans all fell apart, I remembered Daddy's voice and what He planted in my heart. So I drove back to that church house where I'd heard the gospel truth, and for the first time in my life I laid down all my youth. The rebel, the runner, the man I tried to be, I left him at the altar, and Christ gave new life to me. There was a winter when the harvest failed and snow came down too soon. The bills were stacked like mountains underneath the pale December moon. The tractor needed fixing, the bank was on the line, and every prayer I whispered seemed to vanish with the wind outside. I'd sit awake till morning with my coffee growing cold, staring at the kitchen wall, feeling tired and old. I knew the Lord had saved me, but I still was learning how to trust Him in the valley, not just on the mountain now. So I went back to that little church on a bitter Friday night. No choir singing softly, no stained glass catching light, just me and God in silence with the... The sun came rising softly over Tennessee this morning, casting gold across the pasture and the rows of weathered corn. I sat out on the porch swing with a Bible in my hand, listening to the mockingbirds and trying to understand how a boy who used to wander so far from mercy's call could end up here with tears of thanks, surrendering it all. There were years I ran from Jesus, chasing roads that led nowhere, trying to hide my broken heart beneath the weight of fear. I wore my pride like armor, but it couldn't shield the pain. Every empty promise left me colder than the rain. Then one night I heard the thunder rolling through my soul, and I knew the Lord was calling me to finally let Him hold all the pieces of this life I'd nearly thrown away. And I've never been the same since that old altar day. The church sat on a hillside where the gravel road would bend, white paint peeling from the siding like old scars that time won't mend. But when I stepped inside that doorway, something holy filled the air, like the prayers of saints before me still were hanging by callous farmer hands, and stained glass windows catching light like heaven's own commands. I heard the preacher speaking on the mercy of the cross, how Jesus paid the debt for every soul that had been lost. And when the invitation came, I felt my knees grow weak as the burden of my sin and shame finally made me speak. I walked down that narrow aisle with tears I couldn't hide, and I laid my life at Calvary, where my old self surely died. On my knees in a country church, that's where grace first found me. With the dust on my boots and tears on my face, the Lord reached down around me. On my knees in a country church, at an altar made of wood, I traded all my guilt and chains for mercy bought in blood. Now every road I walk begins with a Savior's holy touch. I found my life, I found my hope, on my knees in a country church. My daddy was a farmer with a Bible by his bed, and every dawn before the fields he bowed his weathered head. He'd pray for rain in dry seasons, pray for strength when crops were low, pray the Lord would guard his children down every road we'd go. I used to think that kind of faith was for the weak and worn, for men too scared to stand alone and face the coming storm. But years have a way of humbling all the pride a man can wear, and life will bring you to your knees when burdens get too hard to bear. When mama got that sickness and the doctor shook his head, I watched my father kneel and cry beside their marriage bed. He didn't curse the heavens, he didn't run away. He held her hand and trusted God through every darkened day. And though the Lord called mama home before the spring returned, I saw a peace in daddy's eyes I never thought I'd learn. He said, son, this world will break you if your hope is built on sand, but Jesus holds us steady with his nail-scarred loving hand. Those words stayed buried deep in me through every reckless mile, through every barroom midnight and every false denial. Then when my own heart shattered and my plans all fell apart, I remembered Daddy's voice and what he'd planted in my heart. So I drove back to that church house where I'd heard the gospel truth, and for the first time in my life I laid down all my youth. The rebel, the runner, the man I tried to be, I left him at the altar, and Christ gave new life to me. There was a winter when the harvest failed and snow came down too soon. The bills were stacked like mountains underneath a pale December moon. The tractor needed fixing, the bank was on the line, and every prayer I whispered seemed to vanish with the wind outside. I'd sit awake till morning with my coffee growing cold, staring at at the kitchen wall, feeling tired and old. I knew the Lord had saved me, but I still was learning how to trust Him in the valley, not just on the mountain now. So I went back to that little church on a bitter Friday night. No choir singing softly, no stained glass catching light. Just me and God in silence, with the weight of all I fear, and 1,000 spoken questions only heaven seemed to hear.